All right, let's see. We've been to Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Garfield.
And don't forget, of course, Ike.
Eisenhower. Let's tell them about the Eisenhower. Parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
This week we are covering the Eisenhower Homestead. Is that what it's called? Eisenhower Homestead or Eisenhower Historical Site? Whatever. Bottom line, it is the Eisenhower home in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
That's right, and it is currently under the direction of the National Park Service.
But before we get into that, if you're into the paranormal, history, and forensic type videos,
don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell so you'll hear from us next time we post a new video.
Now, if you follow along on our channel, you know that we cover the history, the paranormal, and our personal experiences while we're there. This video is the history of the farm.
All right.
So watch this and we'll be right back.
The Eisenhower National Historic Site, or the Eisenhower Homestead, is the home and farm of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States. And its surrounding property that today is at 690.5 acres in Adams County, Pennsylvania, just outside a little town you might have heard of, Gettysburg. The farm was purchased by General Eisenhower and his wife Mamie on November 1st of 1951, before his presidency, for a sum of $40,000 from Allen Redding, who had owned it since 1921. When they purchased the farm, it was a mere 189 acres and included 600 chickens, 25 cows, and several buildings dating back to the 18th and 19th centuries that were in much need of repair. After he'd been elected President of the United States in 1953, Mamie had him renovate the main house. In the renovation, beneath the 100-year-old veneer of brick, they found a 200-year-old log cabin. But quite a bit of the original building had to be torn down due to deterioration. The total cost of the renovation was $250,000. The large price tag was due both to Mamie's requests and Ike's insistence on utilizing union laborers who would come to work each day from Washington, D.C., more than 75 miles away. As it turned out, $65,000 of those costs were just for the union workmen wages. The rest really went to Mamie's desires and changes in the design, as she did the majority of the designing and decorating of the house on the fly. As it so happened, Ike must have really relied heavily on the old adage, happy wife, happy life, because at one point, President Eisenhower was to have told the contractor, "For God's sakes, just give her what she wants and send me the bill." In 1954, Norway spruces were given as gifts to the Eisenhowers from the Republican state committees of each state and territory and were planted along the front lane. Each tree was marked with a small brass plaque noting which state had made the donation. The Eisenhower guest house had originally been used as a garage by the farm's previous owners, the Reddings. The Eisenhowers, however, converted it into a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom guest house in 1955. The iron railings on the porch are from Mrs. Eisenhower's childhood home in Denver, and the bell and belfry were removed from nearby Pitzer Schoolhouse. On their wedding anniversary in 1955, the Eisenhowers held a party to celebrate the completion of the renovations. The entire staff of the White House was invited, attending, of course, in shifts so the White House would never be unstaffed. Of course, the staff was grateful to the Eisenhowers for including them in the festivities. While holding the office of President of the United States, the farm served as a weekend retreat for the president and as a place to meet and discuss matters with world leaders. After he left office in 1961, the farm once again became the Eisenhower's full-time residence. The farm has cattle, barns, orchards, a greenhouse, as well as a few unique features made for the president, like a putting green with a single golf hole, a skeet range, and a helipad, and of course, that famous barbecue. From its completion in 1955 to the end of the Eisenhower's second term on January 20th of 1961, the president spent 365 days total at the Gettysburg farm. The longest of these stays was 38 days in late 1955, while recovering from a heart attack that he had suffered that September. While recuperating from his heart attacks, the president took daily walks down the front lane for exercise. Those Norway spruce that were planted along the front lane back in 1954 were what he used to measure his recovery progress. He would have someone paint a small white line at the point that he would turn around each day. Mrs. Eisenhower once relayed that when he returned from a walk, he would comment, "I made it all the way to Michigan today," or Florida or Oregon. The Texas tree is nearest the main gate, so a walk to Texas indicated he'd made it all the way to the end of the lane. After 1955, the Eisenhowers spent most weekends and summer vacations at the Gettysburg farm. They sometimes went to both Gettysburg and Camp David. But some of the more notable Eisenhower guests of Gettysburg trips were Premier Nikita Khrushchev of the Soviet Union, President Charles de Gaulle of France, Prime Minister Winston Churchill of Britain, and Governor Ronald Reagan of California, who of course later became president himself. The homestead was designated a National Historic Landmark on May 23rd of 1966 and was added to the National Register of Historic Places on November 27th of 1967. Also in 1967, the Eisenhowers donated their home and farm, which consisted of 230 acres at the time, to the National Park Service, with a rider of lifetime living rights for the former president. 2 years later, though, Eisenhower died at the age of 78. Now, with federal permission, Mamie Eisenhower did get to live on the farm until her death in 1979, although her living space was reduced to 14 acres. The National Park Service opened the site in 1980, and the Eisenhower National Historic Site is open daily except for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day. And it boasts that it retains 99% of the Eisenhower's original furnishings and offers an intimate glimpse into Ike and Mamie's life.
Well, there you go, everybody. The first video of the series. The history of the Eisenhower farm in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Until next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting. Let us know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified the next time there's a video from Panic D Videos.
Thanks for watching.
Happy hunting.